Everyone wants to edit your videos, man. Are you interested in short format video?
Dude, I'm editing long format. You think I can't do short? What are these services that try to fleece content creators? Like, it doesn't make any damn sense. We don't make enough money for ourselves. Stop trying to take some by doing work for us. We get all these emails every day from these companies that want to edit our long videos down into short videos and want us to do all this merch sales stuff so that they can make money from us. And it's like, you don't make enough money for us. You're barking up the wrong tree. Entrepreneurs, let's talk about an ad.
Why don't you say your name?
Hey,
I
everyone.
know you've been gone for a month.
I don't know how to do anything anymore. Hi, hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steven. This is 60 Second Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. There we go.
Steve is all cocky because he's been here holding down the fort.
Hey, Ryan.
He still remembers how to do work.
Hey, Ryan, are you ready to get extreme?
I'm gonna get so extreme, Steve. Extreme SG.
Extreme. Please take this abomination of a guitar off my hands. Made in 2003 in the Unsung plant. I want to be like unsung, like Helmet. Korea. When I went as originally part of Epiphone C series, then later became part of the Goth series. I can't do that high part, so I'll just go back to reading.
This episode is going to win an award. I can tell already. We're off to the races.
It features the E series, Dove ring head, stock shape, and D logo, as well as the E series. Apparently, it's great for metal, which is also kind of what Helmet was, right? They were kind of metal. Were they?
Oh, yeah. Full-blown metal band over there, Helmet. Yeah.
I don't know. What would you call that?
Like post-grunge.
Post-grunge?
I guess, or maybe full-on grunge. It is grunge adjacent.
The scratch plate is real metal, not plastic.
You can get away with anything, any wrong thing that you say, as long as you throw adjacent in there, then no one can question it.
Let's see. The Floyd, don't expect miracles from the Floyd Rose. They're not much cop on this price level guitar, but it's seen very little use, so post blade springs are healthy. So it's probably like a licensed Floyd. Right?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely a licensed Floyd. You can tell a guitar is really good when it's 20 years old and has barely any use.
This is great. I thought this guitar had received a knock due to the neck pocket being misaligned, but after investigation by Kempsters and Son Music, who have straightened the neck and the pocket as best they can, we've come to the conclusion that this was a factory fault.
Oh yeah.
Towards the upper frets, the bass E string gets very close to the edge, and then it's about to break off the fretboard, whilst the treble E has lots of room for twiddly solos. Overall, it doesn't really affect the guitar too much. Great for low-end chugging and high-end twiddling.
I like that in this picture, the wall hanger doesn't even want to hold this thing. It's like just kind of barely hanging on to it. Like, do I really have to hold this guitar?
Apart from all these problems, this guitar is an otherwise very clean example of an unusual and uncommon model.
I remember this line, this era of Epiphone where they were putting these pickups in them and stuff like that, and they had kind of this kind of budget take on alternative versions of shapes and stuff like that. This one is very, very hard into the whole like tribal tattoo aesthetic, set. Like they were trying to get that like Schecter, market share. Like Schecter's getting all these tribal tattoo bands. We want to get some of those over here at Epiphone.
We should have saved this for the SG episode.
Are we going to do an all SG episode?
We were talking about it.
No, I said that we're going to split the SGs into two different episodes instead of doing all SGs in an episode.
Oops, all SGs. This reminds me of a lot of body shapes, but it's like the poorest execution of this body shape of like what I would call the starfish, or
with the star shape,
you know what it actually looks like is the ninjas from Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
It looks kind of like a little cartoony guy.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to see a version of this SG body that doesn't have the giant earwig, horns cut out of the butt end, because something interesting about this is that back horn there is a lot longer than a normal SG body. Like the fins on this go back a lot farther. Like imagine that filled in, this would be a crazy shaped SG.
All right, I got something to say.
He's got something to say.
All right, what I want to see is, we talked about this a really long time ago. For you longtime listeners, you probably remember the episode, maybe, probably not. There's a lot of them, where I learned that SGs weren't symmetrical.
I remember that. This one's very clear that it's not symmetrical.
But now what I want to see is an SG that is symmetrical, but it's not symmetrical vertically, it's symmetrical horizontally. So it's this basic idea, but the butt end of the guitar is symmetrical to the
horns are mirrored
to the standard configuration.
All right. But what about the neck heel? You want that symmetrical too?
No, that part can be, they can it'll come together in the center and just be a square or something.
You know what would make me like this a lot more? If it didn't have the dumb diamond plate pickguard. Like, I think that's, like, if you took this, it's a bolt-on neck. You could take this and refinish it, metal flake gold, and I'd be all about it if you gave it a flat pickguard. But that diamond plate metallic pickguard thing, it's just like, did this thing come with a stack of Maxim magazines or something like this?
You need this. You need this tread plate.
The tackiest, a guitar for dudes. You need
this for your to go with your PV
Right.
Or your PV Supreme.
Is that the one that had
the Extreme and the Supreme?
Is that the one that had the mud flap girls cut out?
That was the PV XX what was it? The triple XXX.
Right.
Which was very confusing because is that like triple
it's 9
XXX?
X's. It's 9 X's. It's 9 X's.
It's the PV XXXXXXXX. Great amp.
And this is an artifact from a lost time, a time when things were pretty damn ugly. Like, it's easy right now.
I like this headstock. I think isn't this one of the headstocks they brought back not a couple years ago?
The headstock weirdly doesn't fit this guitar at all.
No,
because it looks like a very traditional side part. Like, look at both of our haircuts. It looks like our haircuts.
What I don't understand is
you've got a side part headstock on this Maxim magazine guitar.
I don't understand why this doesn't have. So it's got these the E stamp pickups.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it have the E stamp headstock?
The whole thing's just a collection of goofy parts, and then it has that that military modern knife truss rod cover thing going on. Like, they threw so many ideas at this. I'm honestly surprised it doesn't have dumb inlays. Like, it is dumb inlays away from being just this perfect early 2000s visual disaster.
Weren't these pretty cheap? They probably couldn't afford to put.
Yeah, these were entry levels, not entry. I think they were like $300-400 or something like that. I'd be surprised if they were $600.
This guy, one of the comments says, "Currently sanding my eyeballs now."
We don't have a price for this on this, do we?
We don't.
They didn't send a price. All right. Do you want to? Here, we'll look up on Reverb.
This looks like it was on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
but I'm sure you can find someone.
Well, let's just try Google and see what happens.
Oh, is the internet down? Did you try Google?
I'm trying Google. That is a inside joke just for us. Epiphone XTREME. Let's see what comes up. So there was a bunch of different models in this, and they're all coming up.
So this is the Extreme G400.
Oh, I see it now. There's one on Reverb. Let's see what the pricing was. It looks like it's gone. So I can't see the price. Extreme. I
don't know, man.
Oh, here's one for $749 on Reverb, which is
that seems
so much. People don't pay it.
Who's gonna pay that? Come on.
I promise you, even if you love the look of this, there's nothing good about this. like those were the cheap pickups they were throwing in, like their $300, $400 guitars. It's probably a really bad licensed Floyd Rose.
The low E is almost fully off the neck at the end. Like he says it's on the edge, but I can't imagine trying to play
right
that.
there. Yeah, the neck needs to be straightened out. Gee, I wonder why this thing looks unplayed, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a collection of bad parts. And the diamond plate pickguard is the cherry on top of this disaster of a Sunday.
This is a bridge candidate.
Let's take it to the bridge.
Yeah, take it to the cooler.
How could they have made this cooler? Because they were going in a direction where like there is a market for what they were trying to do. Flat black pickguard.
Mm-hmm.
I think would have looked good. Like this thing you've got to black it out.
Black pickups,
black pickguard,
black matte body.
For the time, I hate to say it, but for the time, some sort of tribal tattoo inlay. If it was, imagine this would look classy. I don't know if I've ever seen this before. Like an ebony fretboard,
okay,
with black gloss tribal inlay. So you only see it when it catches the light.
Interesting.
And then the headstock, they got to do the 6-in-line Explorer headstock.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Reverse it. Now all of a sudden this thing's starting to make sense for the people they're trying to sell this thing to.
That's what I don't understand is like who was this for?
It was for your like stained gobsnack stained gobsnack disturbed, you know, like
Drowning
these
pool.
kind of like, you know, even like your creeds and your hithers and stuff like that.
Your hithers.
What was the name?
Hoobastank.
Hoobastanks. You know, like this. It wasn't even a genre of music. It was a genre of
Chabelle.
College-aged men that existed in the 2000s.
Right.
They're not quite nu metal. They're not quite emo. They really have no home.
They're definitely there. You would have never seen this guitar.
No.
At like an indie emo show.
You wouldn't have seen it at a nu metal show either.
I think you would have been more.
No, because it would have been all like
Ibanez
7 strings and stuff.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
No, this is a no man's land in between everything that was going on there.
It's that awful like radio. It was the late 90s, early 2000s equivalent of AOR.
It was butt rock. Everything. Yeah.
Wait, what were you gonna say? Everything, butt rock?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking
it's all
butt rock. Like all those singers sound like they're farting, or like they're holding one in.
Right.
It's been a while since I had a bowel movement.
So I don't want to talk about the Philippines too much because I already
you gotta wait till what's new
episode with Andy. But there was a portion of the trip. There was a 5-hour
that you couldn't poop.
There was a 5-hour bus ride in and out of the Philippines to get to our destination.
Yeah,
and both times the driver was like his entire playlist off of his phone was like acoustic versions of that era of music.
What?
Like acoustic Creed, acoustic like Stained, acoustic Godsmack.
What?
And I turned to Jake and I was
Lee.
because the driver left the car for a minute and I was like, this is just acoustic tribal tattoos. And he was like, yeah. I imagine an acoustic guitar with a tribal tattoo F-hole in it. Like that's what we're dealing with here.
Oh, man.
We're probably hurting feelings right now. We probably have a significant portion of our audience that has tribal tattoos. And I'm sorry that you did that to yourself.
Some of those songs were you know, that's the funny thing about a lot of those bands is like you know, like Stained, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stained only had like 2 hits in my mind because I stopped listening to them after It's Been a While, I think. So they had that one and they had the song Outside, and both of those songs are like acoustic guitars, and then like the chorus is like your drop tune, like jugga jugga. You know, it's been a while. It has like a super heavy chorus, and then it goes back to like this plinky, like it might as well be acoustic guitar.
You know what's weird about that whole genre, that whole scene?
That people thought it was listenable.
That it's not that different than if you took because it's all very post grungy.
Yeah.
If you took Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and just kind of and forgot to include the kind of fresh, edgy soul that was in those, and just and made that ball, that clump of clay, just kind of like bland and annoying, and like I think he doth protest too much macho, you know, like trying to prove masculinity so hard that you don't believe it anymore.
Right.
Like they really do heavily lean on these influences of bands that don't bother me at all. In fact, I enjoy them. Your Nirvanas, your Pearl Jams, your Alice in Chains. Like they look back at that so heavily with their influences. But
how do you feel about Soundgardens?
Yeah, there's some. No, they don't really do the Soundgardens in there. The Soundgarden's not really in there. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
what about Pearl Jams?
I said Pearl Jams.
Oh,
yeah.
Dang it.
You got your Pearl Jams, your Pearl Jellies, your Pearl Preserves. You got your Alice in Chains, your Alice in Khakis. You got your Alice. They turned Alice in Chains into Alice in Khakis.
Oh my gosh. That's bad.
They turned Alice in Chains into Alice in Ed Hardy.
You're really into Ed Hardy this week.
Is that my second reference?
Well, I'm saying like outside of this, you have referenced Ed Hardy several times.
Who was I talking about?
Because we were talking about black hair lady Amy Winehouse.
Oh yeah.
They tried to make me wear Ed Hardy. And
I was saying that Amy Winehouse is Marilyn Monroe for people who wear Ed Hardy.
You got anything else to say about this? Here's who this.
Sorry, fans. So Amy Winehouse, she made wonderful music. It's a whole other conversation.
Here's the take on this guitar.
Okay, give me the take on it.
This guitar is when your like 13-year-old is getting into metal, like metal of that time.
Right.
So probably, yeah, like you're probably.
This is your training wheels.
Your Reload Metallica, your Fuel Metallica, your Reload, your the alt heavy adjacent stuff, whatever.
Here, I'll give
What else was metal then? What was metal in 2000? I don't Korn.
Yeah, your Mudvaynes, your Static X's.
But you're the parent of that kid.
Right.
So you're going to the guitar store and you're like, hey, Guitar Center guy, my kid's into metal and they want a guitar. What guitar should I get him? And they're like, this one. Look how metal. Look at all those pointies.
We're Guitar Center. We're trying to get rid of these. Here you go.
Look, it's got tread plate. It's got 2 pickups and they're covered in metal.
Yeah, everything about this is metal, including the Art Deco design on the pickups.
Yeah, so that's how this guitar got into circulation. You got anything else to say about this?
No.
All right.
Don't buy it unless you plan on
throwing it off a bridge,
swapping the pickguard and refinishing it and doing something to rescue it or mangle it even further.
And in this case,
reset the neck.
We're trying to repair the neck, which might not be repairable.
Right.
All right. We did it. One in the bag.
Man, that feels good, Steve.
Yeah.
It feels good to be back. You feel good about this so far?
I feel good. I feel great.
This is a good episode.
I don't know if I can keep this energy up for 2, but
is this a good episode?
Dude, we're 1 ad in.
All right, okay.
It's too early to ask that. But what it is time to ask is it, I don't know how to frame this in a question. What it is time to ask is, why aren't you supporting us on Patreon? If you want to head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumpcast, for as little as $1 a month, you can support the making of this program and the fine content found therein. Just like these people. Oh, we don't have any new ones.
That'll be it. Okay, we don't have new people. We don't have new people at all?
No new housekeepings to do. So thanks.
This is the part where you're supposed to feel guilty because you've thought about joining. You've thought about supporting us on Patreon, but you haven't. And now we've gone weeks without new Patreons, and it's your fault.
It actually has been weeks.
It has been.
It's been like almost the whole year.
Where is everyone?
It's been a while. All right, so check that out if you want to support the show. Let's talk about these guys, Stringjoy.
Stringjoy, you hold one, I'll hold one.
This is the Stringjoy signature nickel wound. This is the 9-42. Ryan's got the orbital.
I've got the Orbiter's a 10.5 to 50 gauge coated set.
These are crafted in Nashville, Tennessee, but they're played on stages worldwide. If you support Stringjoy, you can click. If you want to buy some Stringjoy strings, click on the link in the description below. They're great strings. They're made here. They're cool dudes who support this program, unlike all of the people who joined us on Patreon this last week.
You can buy these at Sweetwater, or you can buy them direct with our link down below, which is an affiliate link. We might not have new Patreon subscribers, Steve, but we did earn a commission because someone bought some strings.
This episode is also brought to you by Big Ear Pedals.
Look at that.
Makers of the Wacka.
Sometime this week, we're supposed to receive the back plates.
Yeah.
And we got in the mail today, I got a whole pack of Sharpies. Steve and I are going to sign all the back plates.
Are we going to sign outside the back plate or inside the
I think inside.
Right?
We're doing inside so that people don't mess it up with their Velcro. So we're going to sign all the back plates. We're going to ship them to Grant and Karen, and they're going to put all the pedals together and ship out everybody's orders. This is happening.
I'm not going to say that there is going to be a batch 2.
I haven't confirmed it.
But if enough people email Big Ear Pedals and say, man, I'm really sad I missed out on the Wacka, I bet that there could be a batch 2.
Maybe. We'll have to see how the resale market goes. If we see these hit in the resale market,
look,
for $700, $800, $900,000, I mean, we're going to have to reissue them.
Here's what I know.
Steve know things I don't?
Down there, there's a gold sparkle helmet, and that company makes sparkle helmets in like 3 or 4 other colors.
Oh my gosh.
So I
don't need more helmets in my life, Steve.
100% potential.
I don't know what to do with that other helmet.
For other colors of
No,
Wacka.
don't tempt Grant to send me more helmets. All right, what's next?
What's next is Guitar Bass, sent by John Thomas.
When I first saw this, I thought, this is absolutely ridiculous. And then Steve pointed out that it's not completely ridiculous.
This is a bass with an electric guitar
it's still completely ridiculous.
On the body so that it would be smaller and easier to reach for shorter arms.
That's the whole listing. They want $80 for it. Can we figure out the parts here? Some no-name Stratty neck on this.
I just realized this has like Gibson tuners on it.
Yeah,
How does that work?
And I bet one of them is backwards. Either...
No, it should be fine because it's from a 3x3 set.
It's from a 3x3 set. That's why they went with the Gibson. So what we have here is a P-bass body.
Yeah.
With some sort of off-brand Strat neck that has been converted to a bass neck by skipping half the holes and then drilling a new hole on the other side of the headstock.
This looks like it has the same problem as our last ad where like the neck, the width of the fretboard is not sufficient for the...
I don't think it's a neck is in their crooked problem. I think it's a bass bridge is too wide for guitar neck problem.
Exactly.
They said, whoever did this, I guarantee you spent more money working on this than you would have spent buying one out of probably a dozen different affordable short scale basses on the market. Like I could recommend right now, like I've got the Dan Electro Longhorn, that's short scale. There's the Bronco bass, that's short scale. There's the Hamer short scale bass. You can't get them new anymore, I'm sure, but you can bet they're all over the used market. There's all sorts of short scale basses out there in this kind of like $150 to $300 range.
Yeah,
and
completely.
They're all going to work.
I'm sure Harley Benton's got like a dozen short scale basses.
And they're all going to be a lot of fun. And this is probably not fun and probably doesn't work that great because of issues.
So one of the things we talked about a little bit before hitting record is whether or not this would intonate, and I do think it will intonate.
I think they made an attempt at intonating it. We don't know for sure if it in fact intonates.
They definitely moved the bridge like 6 inches.
That's what I'm saying. They did move the bridge. So they at some point they realized, we need to move the bridge because this doesn't make sense anymore.
And it does look like maybe they properly relocated the grounding wire. So hopefully that still works.
Well, you're only saying that because you don't see the grounding wire sticking out of the hole.
Exactly.
Steve. You don't know if they actually relocated it. They might have said, there's an extra wire down here. It doesn't seem to be connected to anything. Just cut that out.
Well, what's the there's a Jurassic Park quote.
They would have been much better off just converting the guitar this neck came off of into a bass.
Converting the neck into a bass?
No, converting the whole guitar that this neck came off of. They started with a Strat.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They should have strung a Strat like a bass. They already had to do a nut swap on this.
Yeah.
They would just had to find a bass bridge and slap it on over where the Strat bridge would be.
Yeah. This is a clear case of your scientists were so, obsessed with figuring out if they could that they forgot to ask themselves if they should or whatever the quote is.
I want to see that from Fender. I want to see a Strat bass.
Wasn't there a bass that they did a few years ago that at least was like very close to being a Strat bass?
Maybe. Tell us down in the comments. But like Strat scale.
Strat bass. Oh no, what I'm thinking of was like a Strat bass, but it was like a full-size bass with like a Strat body.
No. I want it to be a Strat but it was built to be a bass. Because like the jazz bass nut width, it has that super small nut width.
Yeah.
So it'd be fine. It'd be able to handle it.
Yeah.
The string distance would be different, but that's kind of the point. Would it be that different? It'd be different, wouldn't it? The string spacing.
It might not be that different.
They'd have to come up with some sort of...
Well, you only have to fit 4 strings in there instead of 6.
Right,
so
but they'd have to
more room.
come up with some sort of conversion bridge to make it happen. But I believe that it's doable. I want to see Strat bass.
Woo. You got anything else to say about this?
Don't buy it.
Don't buy it. How much do they want? $80. Not even good for parts.
Buy a Bronco bass.
Buy a Bronco bass.
Buy a Bronco bass. And then if you want the P-bass pickups, I bet there's an aftermarket pickguard out there that you could throw in there and get the P-bass pickup if you really want that. Buy a Bronco bass. Get your short scale. Don't buy that. All right, what's next, Steve?
You got anything new?
Do I have anything new? I've been working on getting 2 bands off the ground. Getting Dinosaur Ghost happening again. I need to hit up the boys now that I'm back and figure out when we can practice again. We started working on a new song. Also, I've got that other band. Still don't have a name for it yet. We haven't even begun talking about the name, but we're been spending a lot of time talking about practice spaces.
Another dumb idea.
It's not my idea. I'm just joining the band.
I didn't say it was your idea. I just said that's a good name.
I actually... Okay, let's segue into that. I have a list of names.
Okay.
Because I was going to talk about the band, but let's talk about the list of names that I came up with.
Here, let me do my what's new real quick.
Okay.
But I think so I'm frustrated because I was gonna bring this box with me and I didn't bring it, but I got a pedal from Gear Ant and I'm gonna try to get it up on Instagram before actually this episode goes up. It is a rat circuit inside of a boss enclosure.
Ooh, fun!
And what he's actually done is,
you should do like a little video, like just showing off.
Do you have a boss pedal?
Yeah, I have a boss pedal.
Show me a boss pedal. I want to find a boss. Oh.
There's a bunch of boss pedals back there, Steve. Just take your pick.
What I need is a DS1.
Oh,
It's fine. This will work.
All right.
But like in the DS1, you've got like the classic 3 knobs, so it's perfect for rat.
Right.
What he's actually done is it's a top mount. It's a top jack boss pedal. He takes boss enclosures, does a bunch of stuff on it, you talked about this on the live stream I did on Super Bowl Sunday. He actually fills in, so he removes the jacks here, uses a filler, sands it back down so it's even to fill in that hole, and then he repaints the whole thing. So it looks super good.
If Boss went to Top Jacks, that would make the news.
Yeah, it's a pretty
and I don't mean like
pedal.
guitar news. I mean like your local news.
The local news. This just in.
Film at 11, Boss pedals. It's moving to Top Jacks.
So I bring this up.
But first, the weather.
I bring this up for two reasons. One, it's super cool. Gearant is a great follow on Instagram because he does a lot of custom paint job stuff. Like he will take like a case. People will send him pedals just to get them refinished. And what he'll do is he'll like sand it down and then do like, say like a white finish or whatever on it, and then he does like hydro dipping on pedals. So that's one thing he'll do. But two, to bring up the point that these like Boss rats went super fast, and they're the kind of thing where if a brand, we say it all the time, if a brand makes something and you want to know about it, get on their mailing list, follow them on all the socials that you use, because by the time I see something, and maybe if you're lucky, I see it and it gets shared on like our socials, but more than likely, even by then, it's too late because I'm seeing it 8 hours later.
Yeah.
Or I get an email, I buy it right away because I want it, and then I don't post about it till later that day because I got to go to work or whatever, right? So if you want to do it, you got to sign up for the emails. I know. In the case of these pedals, like they sold super fast. In the case of the Waka, I think it sold in like 36 hours or something
like that, less than 2 days.
So get on those lists. Like I said, I'll have pictures on the socials. I'm super bummed I don't have it with me tonight.
All right, so
band names with Ryan Burke.
This is a list of band names that me and all the other guys at Castaway Island were like throwing out there, and I just started writing them down because we would say something random like band name.
It looks like you typed them up.
I typed them up in a notes document. You can see how many there are.
Right, but you said you wrote them down.
Oh, I wrote them digitally on my phone, Steve.
Oh, okay.
I hand wrote them with my fingertips digitally with a digital keyboard on my phone. All right, so the first name, the original spin-offs. I'm just going to read through these fast, and you just react, Steve, as I go.
Okay.
You tell me if you want me to stop. Buses with Basements, Panic of the Stage, What Is It with Dogs and Drones, The Stage Frights, Sunburned at Breakfast, Brunch Theory, Massacre of Kindness.
Brunch Theory sounds like a late 90s trip hop. Like
sure.
You should be playing with Massive Attack.
Like acid jazz.
That could work too.
7 Inches of Sunshine, Living in a Memory, Black Metal Pool Party, Hey, Why Not, Can't Kill Chemistry, Kangaroo Jack-Off, Tropical Depression, Bone in Meatballs, Church of Aquatic High Five, Giant Fire, Anything Could Be a Band Name, No Starfish Required, My Gay Uncle, My Fat Uncle. So My Gay Uncle is parentheses indie band, and My Fat Uncle is parentheses ska.
What?
The Ibanez Connection, Russ McJunkin and the Upper Lips, My Father's Upper Lip, Banana Recycling Facility, More Pineapple Than Man, Acid on the Nail Bed, Toast Stump.
Most of these are like not, they're just things. How many of these did Henning come up with?
Shove the Pineapples, Viscous Fishes, Fanhoggers, Twisted Pilipenis, Every Day a Drone, Fucking in the Future, Laugh Attack, 10 Days in Japan, The Rooster Story.
10 Days in Japan sounds good.
Do Fish Have Teats? Penis for Breakfast, Rebooting the World.
What?
Sentient Vagina, Puritanical Guilt in Wasting Food, Sunburned Dick, Decoy Asshole, An Unusual Collaboration, Starfish Farm, Tender Impact, I Never Had It Hot, Janky Sasquatch, Henning's Probe, Mr. Lizard, Weird Salmon Party.
I feel like Mr. Lizard's already a name.
Touched by a Canadian, sorry, eh? Hevos Twistos, Adult Spinach, Drowning in Mango Juice, Hot, not spicy, Troll Milk, Milk the Comments, Devil's Avocado, Not Necessarily Swayze, Social Orgasm, No Iguanas in Tijuana, Kubrick stare, but it's spelled S-T-A-I-R. Hand me the shotgun, Canadian Ryan.
Hand me the shotgun is definitely a screamo band.
Constipated fuzz, Gigfoot. Foamy cum, but it's spelled C-O-M-E. Theoretical tennis lessons. Dirty little sock puppet. Solar sneezers. Hopeful thinking. Beans for breakfast. Cloaca. Parentheses. Filthy all-purpose hole. The human connection. Snorkel dip. One breakfast left. Dancing with the rooster. Back to Bert. Tits out Uno. 7-foot tall girlfriend. Flesh penis. Blood penis. Meat penis. Frisbee bitch. Lonely miserable people. The shoes we left behind. Wink wank. Quantum foam. Keyboard cowboys.
I think Frisbee bitch needs to be and that should be like if you're playing in a competitive like adult ultimate Frisbee league.
I'm gonna leave it out there. Open invitation. These band names are available. If you're looking for a band name.
If you have any band name suggestions that are better than those, let Ryan know.
How could they possibly be better, Steve?
Yeah, how could anything be better than penis breakfast? Definitely no better name than that.
You get a little insight into what conversations were like. You should just on the island.
You should just make your name Animals Everywhere. No, it's animals at the end.
Animals at the end, yeah.
Animals at the end.
All right, let's do other stuff on the show, Steve.
Yeah, let's talk about
one more sponsor.
Bad habit. I've been listening to a decent amount of Steve Lacy, so I don't know that he uses a habit, but
he could.
He might.
And look at what I've got right here, Steve.
It's the thing I always talk about. It's a field guide.
They make these really super cool, very informative books about everything you need to know about chaseless pedals. And they're just, from a designer standpoint, this is art. Like,
gross.
They should have every page like framed and hung in their offices because it's just like the illustrations are beautiful. It's just
how do you know
brilliantly explained how every little thing works, and every way that they can't explain that it works. Like, hey, here's a mystery. We're not sure what'll happen if you do this, but you could give it a try. Like it's extremely charming. It's extremely informative. If you've ever been worried that you get a chaseless pedal and not know how to use it, this is how you know you're going to be able to use it. These very informative little books here. So go check out Chaseless Audio. They've been sponsoring us forever and ever and ever. And you could send them a thanks by buying one of their pedals, maybe 2 or 3 of them. I mean, Christmas is still what? 300 shopping days away?
Something like that. All right. This topic was sent by Paul Blaine. He says, all analog rigs versus rigs that have digital components versus all digital / solid state rigs. Discuss. I feel like
this is an interesting conversation to have right now in this point in guitar gear history, because digital has gotten to the place where there's a lot of stuff where it's like, we don't mind that it's digital at all.
I'll say that, okay, I understand what he's saying with all analog versus, so he says, versus rigs that have digital components versus all digital / solid state rigs. And I think by the last one, he's saying like digital amps.
Right.
Because one of the things I'll say is if you took, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna maybe I'm gonna be way wrong.
There's two extremes.
Hold on, no. If you take a Boss Heavy Metal, and you run it through any of these amps back here,
right,
except maybe the Boss Katana,
right,
you still have an all analog rig,
right.
The Acoustic 150, that's an all analog rig,
right.
But I assume what he's saying is like
non-tube,
like an analog rig with digital pedals.
You're hung up on the
versus a
amp part.
because that's my pet
Right,
peeve.
right. Because
you
like
hit my pet peeve, Paul.
because
Pet peeve, Paul.
he's clearly saying like all analog, like tube amp at the end. He's not counting solid state as part of analog, which you
Well, and also like is an all analog rig, does that mean like do all your pedals also have to be tube?
okay.
In this?
There's two extremes here, and then there's everybody in between, which is most
Right.
of us. On one side, you have an all analog rig. You're at no point does any part of your signal get converted into ones and zeros, and that includes solid state amplifiers. It's not just tubes, guys.
Right.
That includes solid state amplifiers. But I think in the soul of his question, we're going to assume that he means tube amps.
Yeah.
On the other side of it is a full digital rig. Straight into a processor, straight into the house. Maybe you have pedals that are digital before the processor or after or something like that. It's the majority of your rig is converting your signal into ones and zeros and then converting it back into an audio signal. Where most people are comfortable living these days is various digital components to their pedal boards,
Yeah.
or maybe even, rack processing, and then a mostly analog amplifier. Like, I think that's where most people live these days. Like, most people are like, oh yeah, I have no problem throwing a digital reverb on my pedal board before my tube amp. And I don't think, because the amp and the speaker are really the last part of a guitar voice, I think all those ones and zeros, if you could even hear them, by the time they hit the tubes or the solid state components and then hit a real speaker, like that all gets filtered and smoothed out.
Right.
Unless you're going for really extreme, like bit crushed sounds. You know?
One of the things I'm thinking about right now is the fact that I don't know that I've ever played a gig of any sort or at church or whatever on guitar in all analog rig. Feel like because basically I'd have to be doing something either with an analog delay or no delay.
Are we going to count digital delays as...
Well, no, that's what it says. Have digital components like digital reverbs and delays. So that would be like if you have digital pedals running into an analog amp.
But you think about like a DD3, technically a digital delay.
Yeah, it's a digital delay. It's not like a advanced
Right.
ping-pongy whatever. Actually, does a DD3, does it do stereo function? No. Okay. I would say, because if it did stereo function, then... No, I get what you're saying. It's
and then
like
there's two extremes on digital too.
Sure.
There's the extreme like lo-fi, like you can hear bit crushing and things like that. You can hear artifacting, and some people will chase those sounds and be like, "Oh yeah, I want to hear like digital artifacts and for this thing that I'm working on." And then there's the other side where the processing power is so high and there's so much going on that you get into hyper realism, like fidelity beyond what guitar's supposed to be capable of, like just stacks and stacks of octavey, shimmery reverbs and modulations and hi-fi sounds that could never be obtained with a standard analog rig.
It's your classic like 90s My Bloody Valentine, Mogwai, Sonic Youth, whatever sort of
like soundscape
shoegaze
artists
versus
stuff.
like what we think of in modern shoegaze, which tends to be a lot of like digital reverbs into fuzzes and whatnot.
Sure. And then in between you have digital that just makes guitar sounds and sounds fine, know? And I think a lot of this debate is mostly over now as far as everything in between your guitar and your amp. The debate is still alive at the end of the signal. Right. But in between, like, it really doesn't matter.
Sure.
It just depends on what you're going for.
Well, I don't know, Ryan. I mean, Jimmy just plugged his guitar straight into a 1968 Marshall JTM 45 and turned it up to 11 when he blew the brains out of everybody at Woodstock 69. Ryan.
I've been having a weird craving for...
Jimi Hendrix didn't need no Strymon pedals or
He would have bought them if he could.
Line 6.
Boys with a time machine. Here, Jimmy, use this. It's a Kemper.
It's a Metal Zone.
Can you imagine Hendrix with a Metal Zone? He would have loved that thing.
He would have had trouble. There were no effects loops.
Okay, so I've been having this craving lately
For like pizza?
for like full-blown digital distortion, like what was on my old Zoom 2100.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at that pedal that JHS covered a while back, the Digitech Distortion Factory.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's trying to be analog distortions. And it probably sounds like I want a full-blown, crappy sounding digital distortion for the sake of digital distortion.
I'm trying to think if there what if
I could probably do it with like the little Zoom MS 50 thing that I have.
Right, there's probably something in there.
Yeah.
But you're wanting it to be like that, but without being like bit crushery.
Yeah, I don't want bit crush, but I want like there is a digital distortion. You know, but I don't want it to sound like lo-fi. It's just that very specific, like not a lot of dynamics, kind of on and off, very tight grit to it. Like there's nothing organic about it at all, just this hard crunch, you know? Like I think there's a use for that. Because you used to encounter that as like, oh, here's the distortion in this cheap floor modeler from 1997, and it's just, you know, the best emulation I have of a Metal Zone right now, sort of thing, or of a high gain amp, and you live with it until you can get the real thing. I want the fake thing again. Mm-hmm. And there are certain things that I don't think have made the transition to digital versions yet. Like I don't think
it kind of sounds like what
fuzzes don't do well as digital.
Right. It kind of sounds like what you're saying is like, you know, Coca-Cola is good, but sometimes I just need that. What's a knockoff of Coca-Cola?
I want that
Shasta Cola.
Yeah, I want the store brand Coke, you know. The store brand cola. It just says cola on it. Cola. Did we murder this conversation?
Yeah,
We're done with it?
I think it's tough, and I think you're right. Like for the most part, there's pros and cons to everything. I think for the pedals though, like it's hard. You can get. I think to me the thing is like, so like you can get simple digital pedals. They don't have to be
right.
They don't have to be the Habit. You know, they don't have to be this Strymon Trifecta. They can just be.
They don't have to be some sort of Maris thing, you know.
Yeah, they can be a 3-knob delay. They can be the Elf, you know, from all those Belton Brick things. Those are all digital. Those are all digital pedals. They're 4 knobs. They're simple.
The Electro Harmonics Canyon on the Deluxe Memory Man setting. Like for me, functionally, it's a Deluxe Memory Man. Right. It has other things it can do, but I use it as a dark, murky, warm analog style delay. It's not analog.
It's a digital Lux Memory Man.
It's a digital Lux Memory. That's actually pretty good.
Put that on a shirt, Mike Matthews.
Yeah, Mike. If you're watching.
He doesn't watch.
He always says that he's going to, and then he never does.
I never heard him say that.
Yo, I call him up. Mike, did you watch the podcast this week? Yeah, Ryan, I'm totally gonna watch it, and then he never does. And
he's like, I'll watch it after I finish my cigar.
Right, he never finishes his cigar. He never finishes his cigar.
He never finishes playing the sitar. You got anything else, man?
I haven't seen Mike Matthews in person in a couple of years because he used to go to NAMM all the time.
Maybe he'll be there.
And then COVID happened.
I'm getting not to derail.
I mean, I've never actually talked to him. I'm just gonna say that.
I'm kind of getting. We need to talk to the boys about what we're doing for NAMM because I'm getting real itchy.
Okay, talk to the boys. You figure it out.
Talk to the boys.
My plan has been pretty loose. I might just like crash at a friend's house overnight and just two days up there. But if the boys have a place, I'll crash with those Carps boys.
Yep.
With the Carps.
The Carps.
You guys don't understand the reference, but you know that's fine. That's our boys, the Carps.
If they're getting in Wednesday night, I might go straight from They Might Be Giants to NAMM.
I was probably going to do Friday, Saturday, because I don't know. Because you would be going north anyways.
I have an hour drive home after that show either way, so it's either an hour to
Gosh, I need to start
middle of Riverside County or an hour to Anaheim.
I need to start looking at dates seriously, huh? Because that's coming up. When is NAMM again?
April 13th, 14th, and 15th.
So it's not this month. It's not.
No, it's not this month.
It's not March.
Next month, which is March. It's currently February. Is this episode come out in March?
I don't know. I don't remember. Let's check the calendar.
Maybe this episode this episode doesn't come out in March.
Okay, no. This episode comes out the last day of February. Because we're putting it out on Tuesday. Guys, remember to watch this episode on Tuesday. It's not coming out on Monday. You won't know that until it doesn't come out on Monday. But it's not coming out on Monday because there's going to be a JHS launch, which happened yesterday if you're watching this on Tuesday. You couldn't watch this on Monday because it didn't come out Monday. It's Tuesday. And yesterday you watched the JHS launch. It's 3 fuzzes and a voltage starving thing. So, I just spoiled it for Steve.
You want to do this last ad?
I do want to do this last ad.
This last ad. This is from...
It feels good to be back here with you, Steve.
This is from the Ninja Catboy. Actually, it's from 10 Ninja Catboy.
Meow.
All this says is Jazzmaster, $1,000. It's in Culver City, California.
Mm-hmm. I actually found the ad for the offer up ad, and it didn't have any more text. This is it.
What's up with this? Whammy bar here?
There's a lot going on here. There's a lot to unpack here.
Why is there a hole cut in the pick guard?
We've got a made in Mexico Jazzmaster here. I think it's got J Mascis pickups in it because it's got the screw pull pickups, which is like the P90 style internals.
Right.
It's missing its knobs. You know, I'm going through a couple things here before we get to the big stuff. It has a gigantic hole cut in the pickguard with a bit of chicken wire behind it.
Yeah.
I am assuming they intended to install a speaker behind it at some point and they never got around to it. There's all kinds of weird little like pressure marks and etchings all over the place. Like look at behind the bridge here. Like what happened there? There are 7 like punch holes just behind the bridge.
Weird.
This has a Tune-O-Matic style bridge, which is another like J Mascis sort of element. So I don't know. Did they make a made in Mexico J Mascis?
I didn't think they did.
Or this is some made in Mexico. This is the one that's got the vibrato closer to the bridge.
This is 2013. So this started as a classic player?
This is some specific model of Jazzmaster that has a few unique features to it. But yeah, I want to know everything about this wiggle stick bar because it's got a really weird end on it. It looks like it's weird dimensions. It's shorter. Like, did they cut the bar shorter and then put their own tip on it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know Jazzmasters well enough to tell you. So these are the original pickups.
Okay.
I found one on Reverb. It only has one picture, but that one picture has those pickups, and it looks like it has the same.
But I'm
Tune-O-Matic style.
Okay, so this was a specific run of Jazzmasters that had these features.
Didn't you have one of these?
No, I had the vintage modified Squire.
Oh, I thought you had a classic player for some reason.
No.
At some point.
There's all sorts of etching stuff going on here. It also looks like they went over the pick guard, which is a tort pick guard. They went over it back and forth and then up and down. So like they did like a cross hatching pattern with like super heavy sandpaper. It's actually kind of impressive how
it looks cool.
Even
I think
they
that
got
actually
it.
Looks pretty cool.
It has a bit of like a parchment texture to it.
Yeah.
I kind of don't hate it. You're not wrong. I mean, the hole really kind of screws with the whole thing.
The hool.
Did I not get a picture of the switch tip?
You did. The switch tip is a Lego man. Look,
there it is. Yeah, there's a Lego guy.
I like that.
That's a fun element.
That's cool.
That's a little personal touch right there. They want $1,000 for this.
Yeah.
Oh, also there's an etching at the bottom of the piece of wood just below the last fret. This person had a thing about etching and scrape. This is someone who leaves graffiti in bathroom stalls. You know, that's what's going on here.
So here's the thing.
And also it's missing its knobs, and one of the pots will need to be replaced because half the shaft is broken off.
Here's the thing. The most expensive classic player Jazzmaster on Reverb right now is $1372.
That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
There's another one for, well, like I suspect because it's weird numbers. Yeah, it's in the UK. Here's another one for $1259, also in the UK. It gets down to like $1,000 pretty quick. Like,
Yeah,
you can get some like pretty. This one that's $1,000. I'm not gonna.
I bet a lot of those are cherry.
Well, they're at least in much better. Maybe
Right.
not cherry, but this one might be cherry. It's newer. It's a 2018. They're trying to point out something, but I'm not going to read the description. Probably fretware.
$9.95. I can see the price.
But it's $9.95 plus shipping.
Right.
And after shipping, it's like $10.50. So I think, yeah, this is a terrible deal.
Awful deal. You can reverse a lot of this. New pick guard. Let's call it $40 after shipping.
Sure.
New pot. You need to replace one of the pots. Let's just call it a $10 repair, including the cost of your time. So there's $50.
You don't value your time very much.
I know. I can do it quickly. New switch tip. Let's just throw that in with the $50. Switch tips aren't expensive. Let's assume everything functions here and is fine.
Yeah.
You can take it back pretty clean. It has some little bumps and dings on the body.
Okay, here's a question I have. Maybe you know.
But it's all labor. You know, you're going to have to buy, if you want a stock bar, you're going to have to track down the correct wiggle stick bar for this, because I have no idea what's going on here. So that's going to be another $30. So you've got yourself an $80 investment to write this thing.
Okay, I got to ask this question because I don't know the answer. Is this swimming pool routed?
It shouldn't be.
So go back to this picture of the hole.
Yeah. No, they had to take wood out to do that.
This is like missing wood, right?
Yeah, but cosmetically you could take it back.
Sure, but it's like if you recognize that this is like
this rough bits here. Did
it's like
termite
it's like
there?
No, that's just it's just like
Is it scraped up paint?
Well, if they routed out inside the body, they probably just messed it up.
Right. This thing's gonna need, like, looking at all the wires hanging around in there and how messed up stuff looks. You're probably gonna end up rewiring.
I think you're gonna open this up and find like a mama rat and a papa rat and some baby rats.
Maybe it was the cage.
The dude's just been like feeding Cheetos through that mesh.
He put his little pet. He's got some poor field mouse in there, and he locked it inside of a guitar. He's like, "This is your new home," and he puts little pellets through there and little bits of straw for it to make a nest, and it died in there. So he's like, "Oh, my pet died. I'm selling the cage now."
This cage makes me sad to look at. I gotta sell it. The mouse is still in there.
Oh my god!
The call is coming from inside the house.
Now this is a haunted guitar, haunted by a mouse corpse.
Yes.
Okay, let's call it. Let's assume you're going to pay someone to right this ship. You're going to take it to a tech, like, hey, new pick guard, new pot. You might have to rewire this. Let's call it $150.
Tech's not going to do that for $150.
$200?
Yeah, let's say $200.
Say $200. So now this is, they could potentially, if it was in clean condition, maybe charge $1,000. I feel like now it's in the 700s. Because it's not just about not just about the cost of the labor, it's about the cost of the trouble that it's going to take you to take it to someone to get it fixed. Like, this is I think this is a $700 guitar.
I think that's fair. I could take chances at $700.
At $700, if you saw this and you were looking at clean listings and like, well, if I do this, then it's $1,000. Then it's going to start feeling tempting.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing about this that's an upsell to a new buyer.
And
these
like,
are all personal touches.
And some of those things you're talking about, like, for me, if I was buying this, the wacky or whatever, it's not really wacky. It's just different trem bar.
Well, I'd want to try that.
I might not replace that. I might just take it out and be, just not.
Oh, you're just not going to use the wiggle stick.
I don't know. I'm saying like that would be like an optional, like, thing.
I wouldn't buy this anyways because Tune-O-Matic style bridges don't belong on Jazzmasters.
I wouldn't buy this anyway because I don't want anything haunted in my house.
Even if it's haunted by a mouse?
Especially if it's haunted by a mouse.
What if it was haunted by a louse?
Ooh, what if it was haunted by a mouse that was killed by a haunted louse?
And what if that louse was wearing a blouse?
All right, Dr. Seuss.
Could you in a guitar?
Yeah. Could you at the bar?
We can't just rhyme. They have to make sense. We can't just rhyme random words.
Yeah.
Unless there's a picture to go along with it. That's how Dr. Seuss got away with it every single time. Like, as long as there's a picture, it makes sense. I can say whatever I want.
That's basically what he did.
That's it. I cracked the code of how to be Dr. Seuss. You can say whatever you want as long as there's a picture to go along with it.
Yes, and?
Yeah, exactly. All right, get us out of here, Steve.
No, we gotta do the Adventurers Club.
Who won? We've got the Master of Jazz here. We've got
the guitar bass.
The guitar bass and the Epiphone XTREME.
Epiphone XTREME. This is a tough week, I think, for me.
They're all good. K-Sly sent the Epiphone XTREME. John Thomas sent the guitar bass. And the Ninja Cat Boy sent Master of Jazz. I feel like I'm going to go off of the one I had the most fun talking about. Do you think it's the same thing that that you're going for?
No, but let's do it on 3, 2, 1 and then say it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Extreme Epiphone.
Oh. Extreme, yes!
Congratulations.
I thought you were gonna say
K-Sly.
I thought you were gonna say the Master of Jazz.
No, I had a lot of fun dunking on early 2000s bands.
I did a lot of mock singing of early 2000s bands.
Yeah, you did.
So there we go. Congratulations.
And it's funny
K-Sly.
when I saw that ad, I was like, I don't want to talk about that thing. And then I was like, me not wanting to talk about it is a reason to want to talk about it. All right, tell us about the song, Steve.
Mark,
finally get out of here.
This is from Mark Riegler. He says, "Hi, Ryan and Steve. Many thanks for playing one of my songs, Cat Food, last year. I bought a Kuvabe fuzz pedal. Quote, have you heard of 60 Cycle Hum? The seller asked. Oh, yes. They played one of my tunes the other week. I went from zero to hero in the blink of an eye. Here's another song called Orange Slice. I hope you like it, and we'll play it on the show. Joke's on you. I haven't listened to the song yet, but I am playing it on the show."
Sitting silently, reflecting, my mind is feeling in no direction, like an orange slice. Is this my way of life? Like an orange slice. It's just my way of life.
You're just a decoration on the top of my drink. I made you laugh, now I think you stink. I never really gave a thought for you. Sucking lemons in a slow-mo tune.
Sitting silently, reflecting, thoughts escaping me in no direction, like an orange slice. Is this my way of life? Like an orange slice. I have this taste for life. Like an orange slice. Is this my way of life? Like an orange slice. I have this for life.
Very charming, very fun, kind of light and citrusy. Yes, play a commercial, Steve. By the way, if you want to send a song email address is down here. Also, if you want to send ads, the same email address.
Right here.
Yeah, down here. Send us screen grabs of ads that you find on Craigslist, eBay, Reverb, OfferUp, wherever you find them. And if we like them, we'll put them on the show, and then we'll decide whether or not it's our favorite. And if it's our favorite, we're going to write you an email and reply and offer you a gift card for $20, maybe sometimes $25, because that's the minimum at Reverb if you want a Reverb gift card. We'll figure it out. This is what we're doing all year.
You think it would be fair if we just made everything like $25?
Okay, all right. We'll make it $25 now.
Sorry, everyone who already got a $20 one. You just it's the breaks.
Yeah, but you got more than you thought you were going to get, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Stay grounded.